This is The Great Expanse by JohnBat426. Here on YouTube, it is a pleasure always to record these videos for you guys, to edit them, to put a unique spin on them, so that The Great Expanse by JohnBat426 can stand out and live up to its name and expand. And if you've liked the videos that you've seen thus far, hit the like button or hit the dislike button. Share these videos with other people that you know that like comic book related stuff as much as you do. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications. All, not personalized or the one underneath, but all, so the next time a new video is dropped, you'll know about it second. I'll know about it for you. One, right, jam. You know it. Now, I've been late about this news, and it's something that I should have been very forthwith and forthcoming about, because the news dropped about 5 days ago, but it's kind of been a little hectic, some personal things going on. Nothing ultra serious, but some things have kind of taken my time or whatever, like sufficient rest after working a hard day's work. So I can't neglect my rest, okay? But I definitely want to get back into the groove of doing things, all right? But this headline jumped off the screen. The website is Cinema Blend. The headline reads, Superman Legacy, release date July 11th, 2025. Cast and other things we know about James Gunn's DCU movie. Now, I saw the actor's name that James Gunn apparently penned to play Clark Kent / Superman. It's a name I'm not familiar with, so hopefully we'll get more information on who this is, okay? The article is by Philip Sledge. I'm surprised it's not a hyphenated name for Sledge Hammer. No? It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman Legacy, okay? And James Gunn said that will be the real beginning of the new DCU spearheaded by himself and Peter Safran. There are multiple upcoming DC movies on the way, but few, if any, have nearly as much anticipation as James Gunn's Superman Legacy, a project considered the true beginning of the DCU. And while there are other projects slated to land on the big screen and small screen, before the movie's summer 2025 release, it's easy to see why so many comic book fans are champing at the bit for information on this exciting project about one of the most beloved superheroes of all time, probably the most, okay? Despite the movie being roughly 2 years away, there's already quite a lot we know about Superman Legacy, including its release date, the pair of actors who will lead its cast, what its story will entail, and what it means for the big picture of the DCU moving forward. James Gunn said that it will be a unified universe, okay? Here is everything we know about the movie at this time. Now, whenever I hear at this time, I think about Star Trek 4 when Captain Kirk, Admiral Kirk at the time, was sending the Federation a message. He said, at this time. All right. Okay, let me stop nerding out, okay? In the grand scheme of things, there's not that much time to wait for Superman Legacy, as the DCU movie is slated to open in theaters on July 11th, 2025, as I said. James Gunn revealed the release date in the middle of DC's God Monsters announcement video back in January, where the co-head of the film studio revealed the massive partial slate, of upcoming projects of all shapes and sizes. It was quite a big deal. He announced about, I think, 10 things. I mean, it's serious. And while release dates can change in a moment's notice these days, hopefully, Superman Legacy's debut is far enough out that it won't be pushed back before we see the new Kal-El in action. Let's get to the good stuff, people, alright? In addition to already having a release date, James Gunn's Superman Legacy is also well on its way to filling out its cast of DC Comics heroes and villains, with the two biggest roles in the movie already confirmed. Alright, so it's confirmed. This isn't from trusted and proven sources, or speculative. In June 2023, we had got our answer to the question of who will play the new Superman when Deadline reported that Pearl's David Corenswet, I never heard of him, and the marvelous Mrs. Maisel's Rachel Brosnahan had been cast as Clark Kent / Superman and Lois Lane respectively, ending a much talked about casting process that wasn't without its own twists and turns, okay? Now, off the top, I've never heard of these two people or the shows they've been a part of. Pearl, the marvelous Mrs. Maisels, nice alliteration, but still never heard of it, okay? The super couple at the top of the Superman Legacy cast are the only two confirmed stars at this point, but there has been speculation that brothers Alexander Skarsgård and Bill Skarsgård are on the short list of Lex Luthor actors, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Neither Skarsgård brother has been named the frontrunner at this point, so we'll have to wait and see if either of them get it or if some mystery actor swoops in to steal the role of Superman's most notorious villain. I do not want to see either of the Skarsgårds as Lex Luthor. Why? Because you're mean? No. I already saw one of the Skarsgårds, I think it was Bill, as the DA that was the drophead in the Batman. I don't want to see dual roles and dual identities already at the beginning of the DC. No, I don't want to see any of the Skarsgårds. Please, no. When news first began to spread that a new Superman movie was on the way, many assumed Henry Cavill would reprise his role from Man of Steel in the various DCEU crossover films, but that won't be the case, and we've already covered that, about how Henry Cavill was told that they do want him for future projects, but just not as the Man of Steel. Okay? In a series of tweets in December 2022, James Gunn laid the groundwork for what's to come by saying, in the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. We already covered that, okay? When some asked if Superman Legacy would be another superhero origin story, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 director was quick to reply with a resounding, no way. A couple of months later, when speaking with Empire, DC Studios co-CEO Peter Safran further elaborated on the upcoming Superman movie while also avoiding concrete details about his narrative, saying, "It's not an origin story, it focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. Superman represents truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned." Okay? How early in Clark Kent's story Superman Legacy takes place has not yet been revealed, but expect to hear more on this in the very near future. When James Gunn first announced that Superman Legacy was in the works, the former Troma filmmaker was still on the fence about directing the movie, even though he was in the process of penning its script, but that all changed in March 2023 when Gunn took to Twitter to confirm that he would be sitting in the director's chair. Okay? In a series of tweets, the DC Studios co-CEO released an incredibly touching statement in which he revealed that the release date, July 11th, 2025, is the birthday of his late father, before talking about the way his dad supported his love of comics and film when he was growing up, despite not fully understanding that obsession. The Dawn of the Dead 2004 remake scribe ended the incredible passage by saying he loves the Superman Legacy script and that he's excited as we begin this journey. The full Superman Legacy cast has yet to be ironed out at this point in time, but we do know when the movie will start filming. During a May 2023 Wired video interview alongside brother Sean Gunn, James Gunn revealed that production will kick off at some point in January 2024. Now, hopefully the Writers Guild of America strike will be over with by the time they start filming. He didn't reveal any additional details about a specific date, filming locations, or the duration of the shoot, but this window does offer us a look at the future of the project. Alright, this is a pretty lengthy article, so stick with me, okay? In addition to introducing the DCU's version of Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Lex Luthor, Superman Legacy will also reportedly serve as the debut of the Authority DC Comics team. In June 2023, The Hollywood Reporter's Heat Vision newsletter reported that the July 2025 movie will introduce several members of the team ahead of its own movie, which is to be released at a later date. Not much is known about the Authority movie at this time, but the comic book version of the titular team has included members like Apollo, Midnighter, and Jenny Sparks in the past, all of which were willing to take a more drastic approach to the whole saving the world aspect than their fellow DC Comics heroes. There is still a lot of time before we get to see Superman Legacy in action, but there are still plenty of upcoming superhero movies to keep us all entertained over the course of the next few years. And don't forget to check out our 2023 movie schedule for all the latest on all those non-superhero films coming to a theater near you. Again, this was a very lengthy article, so glad you guys stuck around. So, my thoughts, there's really no opinion for me to offer here, except I'm really not sure how introducing the Authority in the Superman movie will work for the Authority and help the Superman movie. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, when you introduce the Authority, it has to be beneficial to both IPs, intellectual properties, the Authority and Superman. Does Superman really need the introduction of a new crime-fighting team? Not really. Why? Because he has Metropolis to save, he has Lex Luthor to combat. And as I said, a great superhero movie focuses on the superhero. So I don't know if this is going to be like similar to Superman in the Elite, I believe it was with Manchester Black. Maybe James Gunn is going to take some aspects of that story or series of stories and put it into this film, but instead of Manchester Black, it'll be members of the Authority, like they said, Apollo, Midnighter, Jenny Sparks, characters that I'm not familiar with, okay, even though they do come from the Wildstorm Comics universe. But you have to be very careful that you don't fall into the Marvel trap of just constantly cross-promoting other intellectual properties and franchises. You can't continuously do that and keep an audience invested in one singular project. Like, and this isn't really a spoiler, but I was watching Secret Invasion, and I'm like, okay, the stakes are high in this series, but Nick Fury is the star. And I've seen and done a reaction video to the Marvels trailer, and I know that Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury plays a major part in that movie. So I know that he's not going to die in Secret Invasion. I know that he's not going to be maimed, because he and Monica Rambeau show up at Kamala Khan's house asking about the whereabouts of Kamala Khan. And of course he has to watch Kamala Khan in the spacesuit that Monica Rambeau was originally in float back to the Sabre space station. So I know Samuel L. Jackson is his character, Nick Fury, is going to be perfectly fine in Secret Invasion. So I hope James Gunn and Peter Safran do not fall into the trap of this just like obligatory cross-marketing. Because once you've introduced the Authority, you know that their movie is coming. And I don't know how that benefits Superman Legacy. I really don't know. Unless James Gunn just writes a terrific script. Because then it's like, wait, so the Authority aren't going to really be in any trouble because they have a movie to make. So James, Peter, I'm saying that like on my first name basis, like I know you guys, or like you guys know me. But nobody can be 100% invested in one project when you're throwing in tidbits from all these other like angles and story arcs. And that's just my opinion on it, okay? Because I was watching Batman 1989 the other day. The movie began and ended as if that was the only movie that was ever going to be made. And you're fully invested in that movie because you don't really know what's going to happen. All right? Like, they killed the Joker. So he's not coming back for another movie. So you had to be totally invested in that one movie. Batman Returns, the Penguin dies. So these movies were almost like one-offs. So there's not, well, I know in the next movie, you don't know if there's going to be a next movie. You know what I mean? And the way that The Dark Knight ended, when Batman drove off into, I think, the moonlight or the street lights, I was like, they ended this as if there's not going to be another movie, even though the Joker did survive. And it's funny how things happen like that, because you really need the audience to be fully invested in each project. I should not go to the theater saying, I wonder what the next project is going to be. Like, all my focus should be on this movie or this TV series, okay? Let me get off my soapbox, even though the view from my soapbox is breathtaking. But anyway, I definitely want to look into more about Jim Cornsweet. Wait, let me read his name carefully so that I don't sound ignorant. Because as I said, this news broke, I think, last week sometime. David Cornsweet, I'm sorry. So we're kind of going to do a little bit of double up, all right? Because I just want to see who David Cornsweet is, okay? David Cornsweet. Good height, he's 6'4". Good look. He looks like, okay, I buy, there's one picture here, and I'm going to make sure that this is the picture that I show on the video after I edit it. He looks like a young Superman. He does. Okay? He's tall, dark, and as they say, tall, dark, and handsome. What they mean by dark is dark-haired. Okay? I mean, he's a white boy with blue eyes. So there's no surprise there. David Cornsweet, I like the way he looks. Let's see what he's been in so far. So we're going to go to Wikipedia. Yeah, he's from Philadelphia. I didn't know that. That's where we're filming currently. All right, where's David Cornsweet's filmography? Okay, Following Chase, never heard of it. Michael and Clyde, never heard of it. Affairs of State, have I heard of it? I'm not sure. The Sunlit Night, Project Payday, Look Both Ways, Pearl, that's the one that was mentioned in the article by Philip Sledge. Twisters, which is currently filming, and The Greatest Hits. Never heard of any of those. So let's go to television. Okay, I have heard of some of these. Mo and Jerry Weather, no. One Bad Choice, no. Elementary, I think that's the Sherlock Holmes series. I have heard of that. Instinct, I have not heard of. House of Cards, definitely heard of. There's The Politician, Hollywood, We Own the City, Lady in the Lake. That's an upcoming TV series. So David Corenswet. All right, let's go. Let's get to filming. Let's get January 2024. Please hurry up and get here. Now let's look for the Lois Lane actress. Her name was, what was it? Man, I wish it was like Brosnahan. Rachel Brosnahan. There we go. I just spelled her last name, and thankfully the good old interwebs said, hey. All right. She has a good Lois Lane look. I'm not shaming. I'm just making a comment, an observation. She has a strong chin. Okay. She's just a little bit older than David Corenswet, so that's good. So they're basically almost within the same age range. She's about 3 years older than he is. She's dark-haired, unlike Amy Adams. And that's the issue that I did have with Man of Steel initially. I'm like, why is Lois Lane a redhead? But then when I watched the movie, I said, this is Lois, because of how her journalism really sort of made sense. It's like, and you would think that that's how any reporter or journalist would identify a superhero, by taking eyewitness testimonies, stories, and putting them together. And the way it's done in Man of Steel, how she discovers who this powerful being is, makes perfect sense to me. But I like the way Rachel Brosnahan and David Corenswet looks. I buy them as Superman, Clark Kent, and Lois. All right. So I guess time will tell what David Corenswet looks like in the Superman outfit. It's not obligatory that he be a bodybuilder, but he's pretty big. He's 6'4", so he has some good size, hopefully. And I can't wait to see this movie, to be honest with you. Like, I'm really ready for the DC universe to really take off. There were some tumultuous years under Zack Snyder, and I'm not getting into anything personal, but it's just been a lot of back and forth and a lot of bad press with a lot of Zack Snyder's fans or whatever. And I did like the Snyderverse. I'm not going to sit up here in front. I liked it, but now that it's over with, it's like, get it out of here. I mean, and it's just really that cut and dry. It's like, it's not going to proceed further, so just get it out of here. Let's go with the new direction. Let's get it going. If you've liked this video, if you've liked the article, if you've liked my sort of input about David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan, hit the like button. If not, hit the dislike button. If you need to, put a dissertation in the comment section. David Brent, please let them know where their comments or their dissertations go, sir. You still got it, Mr. Brent. Yes. Do your part, now do my part, so that The Great Expanse by John Bat 426 can and will expand. It's in the name.